All right, what's up, guys? This is Ivan from getivan.com, and I'd like to welcome you to my TextSuite review and comparison. So let me blow this up real quick before we get started, and I'll just talk for a second about what I'm going to be covering. So this is first and foremost a review of TextSuite by John Ledger from whatever his company is called. And I first heard about TextSuite through his affiliate newsletter, actually, his mailing list. I was on there because I applied to be an affiliate for Instant Article Wizard. I applied for that program pretty much immediately after I bought that software before I even tested it, and it turned out that the software was way out of date, not improved on, very buggy. So I immediately refunded it, and and this was not too long ago, just a few months ago. And right now it is August 2nd, 2017. Maybe a couple months ago. It wasn't that long ago, but I was on that mailing list and I got his mail about TextSuite coming out on August 1st. And so I was pretty excited about it because it seemed like he was sort of combining some of his old, outdated, localized software and putting it into the cloud. And so it seemed like a promising thing. But and when I first I actually did a video before this, before I wrote my article, my initial impression was very excited that it was going to be a very promising thing to get going on. But then after I started really digging into the program and writing about it, I started to realize that there was nothing truly proprietary about the software. And so that's what we're going to be going into today. I'm going to be going into all the bells and whistles, and then I'm going to be talking about some options that I think are better than TextSuite. I think that TextSuite, this is something I didn't cover in my article, but I do think that TextSuite does have a use that is viable, but I still don't think it's great enough to justify a subscription. And that's the thing that bothers me about some of the stuff that John puts out there is not to be personally insulting, but there doesn't seem to be, not to be ugly, there doesn't seem to be any understanding of what merits a subscription because you want to get paid over and over, and what really is a one-time fee sort of product. And this is easily a $50 one-time fee product. I mean, almost any one-time fee would be better than somehow thinking you could get away with charging $200 a year for something like this. And I don't imagine that it will be upgraded, improved, etc. It's probably just for maintenance. So let's get into it, and then I'll talk about the things that I recommend instead of TextSuite. But it's still a good thing to talk about because, um, there are always going to be people looking for shortcuts, tools, tricks, etc. for creating content. So first and foremost, when we come into the projects area, looking at the header, we've got projects, auto post, your account, help, log out, and then messages. I think the messages are probably from let me just click on this real quick. Yeah, this is from the system. Help, I believe, is the forums and the help desk. My account is obviously your personal account settings, and there you can put your Copyscape API in. And then auto post is something I did not cover very much in the article I did in my blog about this topic. And here you can click this button and you can throw down WordPress credentials and have TextSuite post your articles straight to WordPress. And I think that's one of the more interesting features, but it's certainly not unique amongst other things. But the main meat, of course, of this software is in the projects. You can create all kinds of projects. You click this button, you can name your project, put a description, and so you can have a large number of projects running. And within those projects, this is to edit that project, to trash it, and then this is within that project to actually start creating different kinds of articles. This is where I would say, when you look at it from the ability to create multiple types of projects, the ability to create multiple articles within each project, and then on top of that to post it to WordPress, that is the organizational infrastructure is the most valuable thing about TextSuite. It's really an enterprise tool at its best, at its most common sense, viable, uh, as a most as a in a common sense sort of, this is viable in this way, you know, way of looking at it, I guess you could say. So and the reason is because you could have a bunch of VAs writing for you, and each project of theirs could be separated into different sections, different. You could either name the projects for the VAs, or probably more realistically, you'd name them based on the things they were working for, and then in the description you might put the VA working on that particular project, or the VAs working there. And then within those projects, you'd have a bunch of articles that the VA or VAs plural are working on. And in that way, with a lot of different projects and a lot of different articles within each project, you could certainly allow them to manage their content writing endeavors from one easy to use interface, and then also post to WordPress from that same interface. So if you had 100 sites and you had the ability to post articles from that one place, rather than logging in individually to those sites and going and creating a new post and throwing down the content and the tags and et cetera, et cetera, that is a useful feature of this program. But when you look at it in terms of the actual modules, that's where this program plummets in terms of its usefulness. Sorry, by the way, guys, if I'm a little tongue-tied here today. This is my third take on this video, trying to shorten it here, so bear with me, and while I kind of stutter through this a little here. So let's see. Let's take a look at, here's some examples that I did earlier in one of my takes. Let's take a look at the research article. As you can see here, you got research article, rewrite article, spin, template, and formatted articles. So research, rewrite, spinning, templates, and formatting. Let's look at the research phase. So on the left here, you've got keywords and trends. This is Google Trends. And the keywords, I assume, is monthly in Google. You can click here to sort through a few different nations, US, UK, DE. I'm not sure if that's Denmark or Germany. I'm not sure. Maybe that's a dumb question. I'm not sure. France, AU, Australia, I presume, Canada. And then on the right here, you've got the area where you actually do the article writing, and it's separated into different tabs. And then below that, you have several pages where the research is propagated. So in this first area, I'm just going to do an article topic on the Bible, and we'll do find subtopics. And you can see the keywords over here, the search volume here, the CPC there, pretty standard. If you scroll to the bottom, we can see that it only shows you 50 entries, which is very interesting. So not a whole lot of results there, right? Let's sort by search volume. So let's do Bible scriptures. And if I push this plus button, you'll see it pulls it into this workflow area. And this is actually a really interesting thing. Let me show you how. Basically, when you put things in the text fields, they line up to create the final product. So if I say this is the introduction, and I say These are the Bible scriptures. And I say, this is the conclusion. We can look at the final product in the preview and see that they've all been lined up. And if we take any of these tabs and move them, then the order of the sentences is moved in the final product. That's a pretty cool feature of the research section, but it's not something that you couldn't do on your own. You could easily write things in chunks and paste and copy them and paste them, etc., etc. It's not something worth paying money for, really, So as you can see, whenever this was pulled into this workflow, the research term was filled with that term as well. And you can see when we push this drop down, you may not be able to, if I recall, drop downs are invisible on my tab recording. So you see web, there's also news, and there's also PLR. Those are the three options right now. So we'll look at web real quick and click research. And we can see that they filled out this first one, and it's not very good. So that's not a good example. Twitter, Bible study tools, Bible study tools, Bible study tools, Oh, there's a real article. What Christians want to know. Okay. So this is a real article found on the web, and you can use this article to basically, for the web, of course, you wouldn't be able to copy it, but you could read, and you could sit there and write as you read. You could also do news, see what's in the news, see what kinds of, and I assume they're pulling from Google News or something like that, Canada Free Press, so press releases. And then PLR. So we can take a look, and there's no PLR. So if we were to shorten this, though, to just Bible, we would probably find some PLR results. Playing cards and the Bible, so it's kind of random. Credit Secrets Bible Review, or Credit Secrets Bible Review. Good or bad. So what can the Bible do to ease the pain of depression? So that's a more legitimate article right there. And of course, you could just copy this directly. So it's pretty simple and straightforward, but and at a glance, it seems like, hey, this could be a really useful tool. And up here, you can save this to your database. You can add other subtopics that are custom, not just pulled from here. You can download the article. You can do a spell check. You can do a copyscape check if your API is loaded up. But the thing is, this is not proprietary. This is not something that you couldn't do with 3 browser windows or with 2 monitors really easily. You could easily have one browser with keyword research, another one with where you're writing content, and another one where you're doing research. You could easily do something like that. But you could justify and say, well, what if I want it all in one interface and I want it to be simple and all in one database? Well, that's something to think about, but you got to remember there are severe limitations to these windows. There's only 50 keywords in this search. The trends section, if I put an A here, you'll see that it will serve showing 1 to 34 entries of 34 entries filtered from 37 total entries. So this is only the first page or so of Google Trends, so it's not that much information anyways. Also, in the actual research, there's only 10 pages of research, so maybe it's the first 10 results in the PLR that they have. The PLR could have 20 pages, but they're only giving you 10. There are no other, next page buttons. Same thing in the web and the news sections. They are only serving 10 results. So you can sit here and do searches, sure, and it'll pull those pages up immediately rather than looking at the SERPs and then having to click through. So that's certainly something, but it's also it's still, there's still limitations, and I wonder if you can do an exact match here. Looks like you can. Looks like you can do an exact match, so that's pretty cool. Also, this text editor doesn't include the full range of things that are ideal when you want to deal with your text. Like there's no ability to add H1s, H2s, H3s, etc. There's also no ability to do hyperlinking in this text editor. So that's kind of irritating. Looks like you can make this full screen. I didn't notice that before, but that's still not, there's a lot of options missing here. You can't insert an image here, and so you can reorder the workflow. That's a positive, but if you can make your own 3 windows and that you can make them with more sophisticated keyword research, a Google Trends tab, a huge tab of research, right? You can have multiple tabs on one browser window with research stuff. You can have another research window, right, with different tabs and tools, that this tool doesn't even include, where you're looking at metrics, where you're looking at, social signals or all kinds of things. This is not customizable like a browser window is, So let's move on though, and let's cover some other areas. Let's say you did your research and you put your article in your database here. Well, then you could go to the rewrite article section. Oh, and actually, let me pull one of those articles. Let me pull one of these PLR articles. Everyone needs some Bible software. So this is actually the spinning module. Let me show you the rewrite one first. So if we go to the rewrite one, and first of all, you can click import article here, and you can pull articles from your database. So you could pull your research article that we were just working on. You could also upload your own file, and you could also look at the PLR database. And this is one of those things that there's 100,000 PLR articles in our database, and which is great. But there's a huge oversight in the software. There's a lot of topics, right? And there's a lot of subcategories per topic, but you can't search the library as a whole, which is a problem because if I wanted to look for stuff on the Bible, it only gives me 2 results here when there was at least 10 results before. So what if I want to see articles from different areas? What if I don't just want to pick one area? What if, there's no area that really applies? So if I click on self-improvement, maybe there's 4 there. What about business? No articles in business. What about computer and technology? There's an article in computer and technology under the Bible. How about fashion? Nothing under fashion. What about finance? 2 under finance, right? So I don't want to sit here every time I have a keyword and click through each of these overall arching categories. I just need to be able to click on, search the whole database, so that's a huge drawback. And 100,000 articles over this many topics and subtopics it's really just this many topics. That's a big claim. From all the things that I clicked on, I only saw here. Let's try just searching finance in general. Oh, you need to enter keywords to search for. So that's a big problem, because you can't just search the database. Why? That's weird, I don't like that. But I guess it is what it is. So there are some drawbacks, despite the fact that there are probably a lot of topics that they cover. But PLR isn't this thing where it's like, oh, I need to add this to my PLR database, my PLR resources. There are PLR things out there that cost a one-time fee. You don't need to pay $200 a year, right? So Article Builder is similar. It's basically PLR type stuff, different quantities of word count. So that's something. And don't be deceived by spin and import that you just saw there. Watch what happens. Spin and import. Basically, I won't read this to you, but all this does is add spin tags. This doesn't actually spin the content. It just adds it in spin. It creates spin tags out of the content so that you can go and you can use a spinning tool to get your to spin your content. So it's very deceptive, and I'll talk about the spinning feature later. Let me paste this in here. You can populate the rewrite with original sentences, and I'll just show you what that does real quick. Basically, the rewriting feature adds these text boxes below each sentence, so it splits up the content sentence by sentence, and then when you populate it with the original sentences, it adds the original sentences, and that way you can work with those sentences right then and there. Oops, let me do this. Okay, rewrite article. So this is actually a really cool feature, and this is unique from what I've found so far. I'm sure that there's something out there that does this for free, but maybe not. Even so, there's nothing to stop you from simply putting an article next to a text box and just sitting there and rewriting these sentences piece by piece, Excuse me. So I just don't think this is proprietary enough, right, to justify the price. So far we've looked at two modules that really show us that there's nothing super amazing so far that would justify the price. And I'll talk about why I think some of these features were included in a second, because there is a logic to it. So let's go to the spin article section, and it works the same way as the rewrite module. We click spin here, but unlike a lot of other tools where you'd think all of a sudden you get this algorithmic spinning technology that whips out an article that's been automatically spun, that's not the case. It's not really a spinning. It's a manual spinning tool. It's not a programmatic or algorithmic or whatever you'd call it, an automated spinning tool. It just does what the rewriting feature does, except that it allows you to create multiple variations and rewrite at the paragraph level, at the sentence level. You could put a sentence here, and then when you click rewrite sentences, it'll drop down this box, and then it'll drop down another box, and you can rewrite it over and over and over. And so some people call this article versioning or sentence threading. And there's a perception in the community that this somehow creates more unique content. And I actually started doing heavier spinning about a year ago. And a year ago from today is August 2nd, 2017. So, this group that I learned from makes a lot of money doing this, but doing spinning, But I found while using their method that some of their assumptions about how this worked were not correct. Let's say you have, this is an original sentence, and then let's say you had another sentence that says, I don't know, this is a unique sentence. And another one, this is a sentence with special qualities, and so on and so forth. Even if you did article versioning and or threading, and you threaded those sentences between different articles, so you had this group of sentences, right, going in between this other article and this other group of sentences into another article, and you're threading it to confuse the positioning, right? It doesn't make a difference. You can deceive tools like Siteliner, some tools, but I've found that keyword density is also a part of it. The actual words, down to the words on the page, as well as the sentence structure and the flow of those sentences. And the reason I'm talking about this is because I'm trying to explain that what this is doing here, the only way that would be useful is if you had a service, for example, where you were doing article rewriting, right? And you simply wanted to you wanted to take an article and rewrite it 10 times. You see what I'm saying? Then in that situation, you would certainly, you would certainly have something that was you could maybe help you with your organization, right? But what's to stop you from taking an article and setting it next to your text box and just rewriting a whole article? And that's rewrite number one, or this article dash two, and then do another one, this article dash three, and then do another one, this article dash four. I don't think there's any point, um, in terms of the spinning. Even if you do that threading, the point I was leading up to is that when they're looking at those words and those sentences, even if they're on another page somewhere else on the site, they're still going to proc a duplicate content flag, right? Because there are only so many synonyms that you're going to be able to use. There are only so many words that you can use, okay? And if you use them in the same pattern in terms of the sentence structure, it's still going to get picked up. And so, there's I'm stop if I'm stuttering a little here. I'm acting a little awkward, like I'm, but I'm realizing just that I want to talk about so many other things, and I'm trying to stop myself. So all that to say that I just don't think that there's a point to this. There are already automated tools out there, and they spin at the word level, and if you run out of synonyms, you hit duplicate content bombs. So I think this should have been absorbed into the rewrite art module. To me, adding this was just to make the tool look more robust. So let's look at template article. Select a template, and as you can see, it's just PLR stuff. And there's this one actually shows multiple pages, and this one's I think a lot more searchable than the other area we looked at. But when you click on these, you see that they're just really short things, and they're not the greatest pieces of content. Not a whole lot of words, but when they created a list, they made it seem like there was a lot going on, So anyways, let's there's pretty much it. There's nothing else to talk about. You can come in here and edit this content, and then inevitably you can pull that from that content using other tools. So let's look at the formatted article using other modules in the TextSuite. So the formatted article area actually has the full editor here. It lets you add H1s and things like that, and add links and pictures and tables and special characters and all the business horizontal lines and things like that. There's even a quick thing here, which I think is really awesome, because in some of my premium plugins on WordPress, they don't have this. You get far down the page, you have to scroll all the way back up to add a picture or whatever. But yeah, there's nothing special about this. Like once you've done all of this other research or rewriting, you can essentially import the article from your library into this area to do the formatting, But that's basically it, It's to me, the modules, they look like shortcuts for people who are doing article writing services. So if someone was going to order a rewrite, because John I believe he owns in his network is iNeedArticles, which I use and which works very well. And I can see if you had a lot of VAs and a lot of writers, one interface where people were doing writing in different projects and in different and the ability to post to a large number of blogs, that could be useful. And $100 to $200 a year is not bad. That's about $15 a month for that kind of software if you have a large quantity of things to organize. But I also question, is it even necessary, with the ability to use Google Apps for work or whatever, G Suite, I can't remember what they call it now, G Suite or whatever they call it. using just Google Docs, just using basic sharing, a Google Drive, make a folder with someone's name or some project. That person puts different docs in there. And then people can go and find, whether they have some sort of management interface um, or they actually go and log into a WordPress site. The WordPress site already has post scheduling. So, the only thing about the auto poster is that it's simply saving some time between the login, you know, and it's not like you're going to be posting that much anyways. So I just kind of question the necessity there. There is some use. There is some use for enterprise purposes, but I guess it's up to you. It's up to you if you really need to do that. Now, let me tell you what I think is better. There are already services out there. There are already people who you can work with to streamline what you're doing. Okay. So let me show you some of those things. So the first thing I want to show you is Grammarly. Let's say you wanted to, for a similar price, $150 or so a year, you can whip your writing out really quickly. And instead of this tool that's supposed to help you build writing, this other tool, TextSuite, Grammarly is a tool that lets you scrutinize the writing to clean that writing up. Here's an article I recently made on weight loss clinics in Missouri or Mississippi for a JV project of mine, and between me and my buddy. And you can see here, I already did a little bit of corrections in one of my takes, and you can see here there's a bunch of grammatical correction suggestions, and some of them are redundant, but some of them are legitimate and pretty legitimate, and some of them it doesn't even pick up. Just good writing practices, The great thing about it is if you're going to be doing your own proofreading, this is a nice tool to help you get through it a little quicker than having to just read the whole thing and really go through there letter by letter and make sure it's all goody two shoes, right? I probably made myself sound a little bad, at suggesting that I don't read my own content, but it's different when you read your content to make sure that it's decent, right? Rather than whenever I do proofreading, I read it out loud word for word. So I literally go losing weight and living a healthier lifestyle. So comma is something that many people desire. However, a lot of these people find it challenging to reach their goals alone. For this reason, there are a variety of options available to those who want to find success in their weight loss journey. So that's kind of a little awkward way of putting it, but moving on. One option is a reputable weight loss clinic, Gulfport, Emmett. So that's very spammy right there. So I would say one local option is a reputable weight loss clinic in Gulfport. Oh, wait, weight loss clinic in Gulfport, Mississippi. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like Grammarly doesn't pick up those kinds of things, but it does pick up these kinds of things. So if you wanted it to be a little cleaner and you wanted to do something really quickly to address that, then you could do something like this, right? $150 for a year, looks at contextual spelling, grammar, punctuation, sentence structure, style. And then you can also turn plagiarism on. And this is actually, to be honest, it's almost worth paying the price just for the plagiarism detector because it's a lot cheaper than Copyscape. And when you click on something, it actually gives you the link there, and it gives you styles for citation. It gives you the URL, the title, and the date access, so you can copy them for your citations. So that's or you can just see where they are, and you can go in and change them directly. So I really appreciate that about this tool. But, if we're going on a journey from a tool to write it all from scratch, right? To then a tool to help you clean up your writing, right? That's where we are now in terms of Grammarly. To let's get away from spending so much time on writing. And certainly when it comes to things that we're more authoritative in, we still need to spend time writing. But whenever I write things from scratch, like I plug them into Grammarly and it comes up almost pristine, so it's not really that big of a deal to me for when it comes to my own writing. It's something I consider if I'm getting an article written and then I want to take it and clean it up. You see what I'm saying? So we're taking in one sense, going from one thing to another thing to another thing. You could take pre-written content and then clean it up, and that's much faster than doing it all yourself because your time isn't very scalable, right? But there's another option, and that's just going when you are using, and of course this middle option can be applied to your writing or to somebody else's writing. But I think the best option in terms of what I wrote about at the end of the article on my blog for the TextSuite review and comparison was that you've got to think about three things you think about with every project: simplification, scalability, and automation, right? So you can't, it's not that easy when it comes to writing your own content, when it comes to you having to spend time scrutinizing a thing. And you can't really do that. And that's not good business practice. You know what I'm saying? As much as it is important to do that for certain things that we really want to speak on more intimately, we need to find better ways to scale through hiring writers or through partnerships with guest posters or whatever you're talking about doing. Um, uh, Content curation is a great way too. I think, and here's my best recommendation to everybody looking for shortcuts, tips, tricks, tools, whatever for getting content, right? Creating content, better content, more content, faster content, whatever. I think one of the best things you can do is you got to get used to as I talked about in my article, you have to leverage someone's time. You have to leverage you have to create leverage in some way in everything you do, right? So in this case, we need to leverage somebody else's time to get us the result, or digital infrastructure like a spinning tool, and also the money that we have, or some sort of trade or whatever. So I think one of the best things I've discovered is the ability to use something like iNeedArticles, and I'll pull out. Let me get my link here for iNeedArticles. And everything that I've talked about, from TextSuite to Grammarly to iNeedArticles, I've provided a link or one of my affiliate links in that blog post. And I'll talk about that at the end here. So in iNeedArticles, you can get ebooks written, tweets. You can see a marketplace of pre-written articles. You can do article rewrites, which is really cool because it's 3/4 of a penny per word rather than a penny per word, like the normal price. And what you can do with this feature is you can get a seed article made, and then you can use the article rewrite feature to rewrite that same seed article. That way, like if you have a lot of content being written for lead generation sites, for example, local lead gen, it doesn't change like the different authors don't do vastly different writing styles, right? They do the same type of writing style with the same, or well, maybe not the style necessarily, but the same information, definitely, using this kind of method. So it's a really awesome tool. Here in the article section, um, I typically, sometimes if it's just one topic, I'll just do guaranteed 4 to 5 star writers, and I'll do maybe around 600 to 1,000 words. And you can see for 600 words, it's about $8. So it's pretty cheap for just for one broad seed keyword, right? And And doing this at 1,000 words is about $13 there. And if you include what I also, if I have a larger list of keywords, I'll include the extra fee to allow specific article style requests there. So I'll put the keywords in there and I'll put instructions and things like that. So for about $16, you can get 1,000 words. For about, I'm going to say it's $10, you can get 600 words. And so rather than paying $12 to $15 a month on any of these here, let's take the time to do this ourselves tools, to help you in your writing process, you can just get a nice article written for that price, just one article, right? Which may not seem, I guess, like you're getting a whole lot. Like, yeah, if you spent your time writing articles, you could write an article a day at least, of high quality, and by the end of a year, you'd have 365 high quality articles. So, that is something to think about. But you could also, you could spend a little bit more money and gain access to a little more scalability and automation, right? There's a step further you can go in terms of the quality as well. You can go to some place like Fiverr, and you can hire, if I type in here, proofreading and editing. You can go to Upwork as well, or wherever is clever, maybe even Conquer. And I'll do something like up to a 24-hour delivery time. I saw someone on here recently that looked like very promising. I need to test them out. Let's see I think this is, no, that's not her. Or maybe that was her, but I will proofread and edit 1,000 words under 2 hours. I think this is it. Lisa Hopkins. Who knows how long she'll be around, but she's got a good number of reviews. And her package is professionally proofread and edit just 1,000 words within 2 hours. So that ratio there is that rate is half a penny per word. And then here for $30, you can improve readability to 5,000 words. So in this one, she'll edit, proofread, and then she'll also restructure and improve the readability up to 5,000 words. I don't know how she does. She may be terrible. I don't know. A lot of people seem to like her, but I've had some very bad experiences with Fiverr. So, I don't know. Who knows? It's something to try. Something to work to finding someone who can do some good proofreading for cheap, right? Because in this situation, she could do, I don't know, 5 to 10 articles if they were 500 to 1,000 words a piece, right? So you could prepare a whole like little mini lead gen site, and then throw $30 to her to edit the content, right? And that's a lot better than you spending the time and being obsessive about it, right? And certainly me. So once you do the math over here for getting an article written, at what was it? I guess once you add those two features, it's 1.6 cents per word with the 5-star article, 5-star author, and then the special instructions, right? Then you add a proofreader like that chick, and it comes out to 2.1 cents a word. So to be able to get good writing with the content and the SEO structure, some of the structuring you need, and then to have someone proofread it and do all that for less than around 2 cents a word, that's awesome, And then you can maybe you could find a VA to, I do it myself still right now, but you could just take that content and go do the H1 formatting and all that, H1, H2, H3, all that business, put it on the page. And essentially all you did is you ordered an article, you got it, you copy pasted it to the Fiverr chick. She sent it back in a couple of hours, and then you got it, you put it on the site, So to me, like in the end, you'd be spending $20 for 1,000 words, but it's automated. Can you get more value out of you writing articles? Of course you can. Like, Of course, you're going to be able to get more value and spend more time doing that. And you can still do that. But when you leverage other people's time, when you leverage digital infrastructure, and when you leverage your money, you can get high quality results without having to invest yourself, right? And spend more of your personal time on the bigger picture issues, like more. Well, just it really depends on what's bigger picture and more important to you. A lot of people would agree that it's sales that is making connections with people. I would say that's one of those areas where you can certainly have a VA sending out emails. Um, that it just depends. It depends on where you are in your workflow and what kind of business you're running, what's your niche, right? But I've certainly found it doesn't take much time to lose all your time. So, this has been a review of TextSuite and also a comparison of TextSuite to some of these other options, right? Including freely available options. I just don't think, and really it's also not just about TextSuite. It's also about taking a step back and looking at other options that are out there, because there are a dozen other tools that are similar to this, that do similar things, that have similar sort of focuses or angles in different ways, right? On different facets of the content creation realm, if you will. And I've just shared with you what I think is one of the better ways to go about it. And you can include content curation in there as well. You could, going a step further is hiring VAs to do the whole thing. Heck, if you could, it would be awesome to get to a place where you could use something like, and I haven't looked into it. I still do. I still get my hands in there to a degree, but going to a point where when you receive an email from Fiverr or whatever, then you forward that email into or forwarding the information based on the various things that you do into a singular location where you can basically get an inbox of different things in your project, just for more organizational purposes. It would be nice. The more it's based on digital infrastructure and that kind of automation, then it's so much better, because then nobody has to get their hands on there and tinker with things. So that's something to think about. But anyways, I appreciate y'all's time. I hope this has been helpful for you. Definitely check out some of the links I provided. Some of those are affiliate links. I tried to, well, they're all, both of the, see, iNeedArticles is an affiliate link. I'm trying to, and the TextSuite is an affiliate link if you decide you want to use it for your enterprise purposes, right? And then also, I'm trying to get approved for Grammarly right now, so keep your eye out for that, and I do appreciate it if you purchase those things, but if it puts a bad taste in your mouth, then who cares, The point isn't to convince you of a sale here. The point is to share with you what I've found is effective. And, I hope to find things that are more and more effective and to share them. And, it says in the scriptures, what you've heard in secret, shout from the housetops, and, rejoice in the truth. I rejoice in the truth, and I want to share that, because that's something that I'm seeking, and it's a wonderful thing. So appreciate your time, and I hope you found something from this video that you can apply and is beneficial to your workflow. So I'll catch you guys later. Thanks. This is Ivan from getivan.com. See ya.